Check, 1, 2. Hi, everybody. Good to be here. Busy day today. We've got two world-changing events to talk about, a change in my world, a change in your world, and a change in the baseball world, and I would much rather not do this myself. So what I've done is I've gone out to acquire some help. You could say maybe the best free agent signing in Crier Media history other than Charles Adler and the guy that does our micro content. Please welcome to Crier Media, the new sports director of Crier Media, in charge of everything sports. Maybe one of the smartest people you don't know yet, or maybe if you do, you know how smart this young lady is. Please welcome Miss Rachel Doerrie, ladies and gentlemen. Rachel Doerrie, how are you, young lady? Nice to see you.
I am doing well, Dean. How are you? There's absolutely nothing of note going on today. Zero things. It's a very boring day.
Okay, so let's get to one thing. First of all, I am welcoming you. This is a big announcement. Rachel Doerrie has agreed to come on board Crier Media as a partner. She's bringing all of her expertise when it comes to sports betting, when it comes to gameplay, when it comes to breaking down a litany of different sports that you understand and play well, whether it's soccer, hockey, baseball, football, doesn't matter. You're a handicapper, you're a punter, you yourself love to get involved. And I think you've got a couple of bets on something very big happening today, which we'll get to in just a second. But I want to thank you for coming on board. This couldn't be a happier day for me because it lightens my load a great deal. But more importantly, it puts someone who knows exactly what they're doing at the helm of Crier Media's sports vertical. So your thoughts on joining this group of really, really adequate white men? Thank you.
I'm glad that now at the table of Crier Media, there aren't only white men. There's a woman there. There is noted woman at Crier Media. Can that be my title? I'm noted woman.
Noted woman? Token female? You want to do that?
Token female. That's the best one. Token female. Yeah. No, I'm really excited. I've been kind of off doing my own thing the past year and building a ton and built my own podcast up. And so bringing that to Crier Media and the ideas that we're going to have and the sports we're going to cover and the things that we're going to do, you guys already have been doing a lot of things in the sports world. So just to be able to kind of build on that and use the talent that is already in-house at Crier Media. There's so many talented people, and honestly, finding talent is the hardest thing to do. And so the fact that that's kind of already done, we're just going to continue to build off of that. So I'm really, really excited to go forward here.
Us too. It's weird because you and I have chatted for months. You know, we've tried to kind of get the stars to align, and they finally started to align. Not just for you and what you've built, which has been incredible. You're one of the brightest young stars when it comes to sports betting content. But you're also a wonderful human being. And that's really one of the coolest things about working with you and getting to work with you is getting to know you. And over getting to know you over the past, I don't know how long, it's just been an awesome revelation that, you know, that are literally our future, because you're half my age. Our future is in great hands, like the future of content, the future of business. And listen, you're one of the few people I know that can write with both hands. You use both sides of your brain. You're creative, you're analytical, you're very well educated. And so we're really excited to have you part of Crier Media's sports and entertainment vertical. I know you're going to do an incredible job, you, Mike, and the team that you're going to build here. And we couldn't be more grateful because I get a couple extra hours in my day now, and all I have to do is talk to you and go, no, Rach, do whatever you want. You're in charge. You're the boss.
It's gonna be great, and honestly, it's gonna help me out too, because I mean, when you're cutting and producing your own podcast and all the things that kind of come along with that, like that takes a lot of time, and that takes time away from the time I could be building models and putting together content. And so I think it's kind of, we're each getting different things that are going to make us better and are going to help each of us. And the fact that it's kind of all coming together at a really, really exciting time for sports, especially in the city that we live in. Couldn't be happier to kind of get this off the ground.
You want to get to that? Do you want to get to, like, this is big news. This is a huge announcement. Rachel Doerrie is taking over the sports vertical here at Crier Media, but bigger announcement. And I'm sorry to sell you out.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're gonna have a tracker for this.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a free agent frenzy right now in baseball. and it centers around Shohei Ohtani, maybe the greatest player to ever play the game, not named Babe Ruth, 20-game winner. He's got an ERA of 3.30. He can get you 150 innings. He can also hit, 303 this last year with 44 bombs, about 30 stolen bases. No big deal. He's just the greatest player in the history of the game.
He's a unicorn.
Yeah, he's a unicorn. I don't know how you want to kind of break this down, but I think we actually have some news for people in terms of the Shohei Ohtani signing. Rach.
Yeah, here's the thing with Shohei Ohtani. When you look at this, Yusei Kikuchi plays for the Toronto Blue Jays and was the person that Shohei Ohtani looked up to in high school. They're good friends. It came out this morning that Yusei Kikuchi has rented and made a 50-person reservation at the premier Japanese restaurant in the city of Toronto. Since that leaked, a bunch of people have tried to get reservations at that restaurant, so much so that that restaurant has now closed for the evening and made it a private event. Gee, I wonder why, because you're going to have like helicopters circling this place.
Yeah.
You have that. You've got the private airplane coming out of Santa Ana, which realistically could be a tech executive. I have reason to believe that Shohei Ohtani is on that plane, which, I mean, that's pretty big. He could just be coming to check things out. He also could be coming for a physical. So I think when you look at this, we're going to have a Shohei Ohtani tracker, no matter if he plays for the Blue Jays or not. But if he plays for the Blue Jays, this thing is going to be one of the premier things that we have at Crier Media. We are going to have full-blown Shohei Ohtani content. It's going to be a machine.
Well, listen, you can get into reservations at restaurants, premier Japanese restaurants. That was leaked yesterday. The Bombardier 5000 Superjet that's currently being tracked. We can talk about that. But we can also refer to a couple of pretty serious reports, and I want to bring this to your attention. This is from Dodgers Nation. Shohei Ohtani to sign with the Toronto Blue Jays over Los Angeles Dodgers, said sources. And if you believe those sources, according to multiple sources who spoke with Dodgers Nation on Friday, the two-way superstar has ended the suspense of the most lucrative free agent pursuit in baseball history. A formal announcement is expected as early as tonight. The exact value of Ohtani's contract is known. It is expected to shatter the value of Mike Trout's record 12-year, $426.5 million deal with the Angels. Jays executives have been encouraged throughout the negotiating process with the two-way superstar, privately counting their chances as good as any teams up until three finalists remain themselves, the Dodgers and the Angels. A little more detail. The news comes as a major disappointment for the Dodgers. Like anybody cares.
Sucks to suck. You've had Clayton Kershaw for a decade.
Yeah, and they just go out and get superstars for fun anytime they want.
Betts casually.
Yeah, no big deal. Who made Ohtani the focal point of their offseason plans. They met with Ohtani in person on Friday in Los Angeles. This is where it gets interesting. Before Ohtani held his meeting with the Jays. And do you remember Dave Roberts, the manager? He was like, yeah, we met with Ohtani. And do you remember,
like, dude, shut it.
Yeah, because his agent was like, hey, listen, if anybody talks about anything to do with any kind of part of this negotiation, we're going to penalize you by pulling out. You're done. So it's believed that Dave Roberts submarined it. It's not believed that manager Dave Roberts' public confirmation of the meeting had any role, of course. Jays are owned by Rogers, valued at $24 billion, leading provider of cable.
Is that a lot of money, Dean?
Not bad. Yeah, $24 billion. It's enough. And apparently they own part of the Blue Jays, NHL's Maple Leafs team as well. $500 million investment as the game's greatest talent is relatively small for Rogers CEO Tony Staffieri, quote, who has been intimately involved in the process, according to a source. So if you were to believe that, or MLB Inside Rumors, which had the exact same story that they sourced from Dodgers Nation. Dodgers Nation doesn't put out bullshit, right? They're not in the business of it. But if you believe that, and if you believe that this jet, which John Boy, if you follow him as well,
I love John Boy.
He's the king. He put the whole thing together. He's like, it's probably happening according to all the internet sleuths out there. So there is a very, 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 very good chance it's going to happen that Shohei Ohtani will officially be a Toronto Blue Jay as we head into the weekend, Rach.
Wow. The question I have for you, Dean, is
yes, friend.
So Jose Barrios currently wears number 17 for the Jays. How do we think that conversation between Jose Barrios and Blue Jays management went over the last few days?
Awesome.
Was it
Here,
something along the lines of, "Hey, Jose, you're gonna need to pick a new number." Well, I don't want to pick a new number. That's fine. It's not an option.
Traded. You're gone.
Yeah.
You're over. It's finished.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Like 17.
We paid you too much money, and we're going to pay a guy that money. He'll just take your spot and your number if you don't give us the number, right?
Also, like with the news today that Galen Weston's like, oh, a grocery spike's coming. If Ed Rogers ponies up and actually shells out $600 million, he is going to fall down the rankings of most hated Canadian billionaires. Because if you shell out for Shohei Ohtani, I'm willing to give you a pass on some things.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Like Rogers is the owner of the Toronto Blue Jays.
And also our cell phone bills that are $300 a month.
Correct. And a bunch of derelict radio, television stations, and print companies. I mean, it doesn't matter. So, they have been vilified over the past, like every telco has, but over the past, I don't know how long.
Rightfully so.
This is not only a brilliant economic decision on their part, because they're going to get whatever it is back, whether it's 55, whether it's $60 million a year over 10 years, doesn't matter what it is. They're going to get the money back in licensing and likeness and ticket sales and T-shirt sales and uniform, all of it. They're going to get all the money back, all of it and then some.
Oh my God, the jerseys. What is the over-under on jerseys?
Dude, he's going to sell jerseys to 35 million fans, the entire country. Like, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like 1 out of every 5 Canadians is going to buy one of those jerseys for $150.
Oh, man. I'm going to the Rogers Center after this podcast and being like, hey, I need you to do this. They're going to be like, we're not selling those yet. That's fine. I'm ordering a custom one.
Yeah, that's right. Put Ohtani on it. 17 right now. Yeah. And get all the Barrios jerseys out of here too. Let's get rid of those. But if you think about the masterful PR stroke for Rogers in doing this, right? Masterful, because there isn't a Blue Jays fan, to your point, that wouldn't gladly pay on their cell phone bill an Ohtani tax. Not one. Someone said $5 a month, $10 a month. Go ahead. I'm like, yeah, I want a stake in this. I would pay that, wouldn't you? It's the greatest baseball player of all fucking time. I
wouldn't think, like, here's the thing. Our cell phone bills are already expensive. If you charging me $60 a year means that you bring me Shohei Ohtani, that is $60 I am more than willing to pay, because realistically, that's like 5 meals or 4 meals at McDonald's, and I could deal with that if I get to watch Shohei Ohtani in a powder blue Blue Jays uniform, even if he isn't pitching this year, just batting, stealing bases. The Blue Jays last year, with runners in scoring position or even on base, were the worst team in the league, like utterly frustrating to watch. Now, move over Vladdy, move over Bo, move over everybody. Shohei Ohtani is in the lineup. He is your DH. And then when his arm feels better, he's going to throw and it's going to be great. And I just want this guy to hit a bunch of bombs at the Rogers Center. I'd pay the Ohtani tax, Dean, and I wouldn't even think twice about it.
No, me neither. I don't think any Canadians would. It's weird, though, because we're not allowed to have nice things in Toronto. You know that. Like, I was laughing.
Absolutely not allowed.
No, we're not allowed to have nice things. And remember when the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes started, wasn't even a thought in my mind as a Blue Jays fan. Like, and I'm a lifelong Blue Jays fan. I remember where I was in 91. I remember what I was in 92. I remember every single inning from that playoff, both those playoff runs when they won World Series. I remember the Shea Hildebrand, John Gibbons fight. I remember the Ted Lilly, John Gibbons. I remember everything about this. I remember the Buck Martinez era. I remember it all. Remember the dude who was like pretended to be a veteran, even though he wasn't, said he fought in Nam and didn't, and he was the Blue Jays coach. I remember that guy. Remember that dude?
Oh my God, that guy.
I remember the Clemens era. I remember everything about this Blue Jays team.
We have a Vernon Wells tweet, Dean.
Oh, what does he say? What's Vernon Wells saying?
So Jordan Chikelli's tweeted, if the flight lands at 4:30 p.m., Ohtani is going to see Toronto traffic during rush hour. We're screwed. And Vernon Wells quote tweeted her just now and said, facts. He also earlier today tweeted that basically the Jays had shut him up.
You're kidding.
So the other thing is, so Yusei Kikuchi already
read the
plays for
tea
the Jays.
leaves for us if you can. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Yusei Kikuchi already plays for the Jays, right?
Yeah.
And Ohtani looked up to him. Yusei Kikuchi's translator was made to sign an NDA earlier this week. He wasn't the only one. Like, from what I've heard, quite a few people in the Jays front office and like in and around, like probably the people at the store, were made to sign NDAs because the Jays are dead serious about nothing getting out. And credit to them, nothing has come out. Even when a baseball professional writers association reporter put out that the Ohtani basically had told the Dodgers, I'm going to the Jays, the aircraft has left the tarmac. The reporting from Ben Nicholson Smith and Shai Davidi, who are really plugged in at the Jays, is like, no decision's been made, which absolutely sounds like the Blue Jays being like, nope, not saying anything. We don't have any information. Please be quiet. Go away. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at like Vernon Wells, who's a former Jay, and you look at everything else, like the airplane and the teammates and the restaurant reservations, the aircraft and everything like that, and the belief that he's the one that's actually on that airplane. Oh, it's hard to believe that he's not, right?
Can you put the, well, of course it's impossible to believe that he's not because of all the information that you and I both get. And it's also out there now. Like it's not like this is a pipe dream anymore. It
and
looks
also
like
police
it's happening.
Escort, please. Do not make him sit in the Gardner. Don't do that.
I wonder if they get him an Uber X where he's got to sit in the back of like a Honda Accord with some dude going,
oh my God.
How's it going, man? You want the full Toronto experience? You'd love this. It's great.
Well, like
it takes 4 hours to go 30 kilometers. You're going to love this city.
I'm going to need Ed Rogers to just cut like a $30,000 check or whatever is necessary to get a helicopter from there to the Rogers Center or on top of Scotiabank Arena, wherever it is. Don't care. Don't allow that man before the Sharpie is on the paper to sit in traffic. Don't do it.
Can I ask you something? How rank if he signs, and it looks very much like Shohei Ohtani is going to sign in Toronto, and he will be a Blue Jay for a long period of time, and Rogers has made a substantial, more than $500 million commitment to him for between 10 and 12 years. That'll be coming out in the wash as well, between $50 and $60 million, maybe more. Where do you rank this? Not just in, like, because this is stratospheric, right? This is not... Yeah. This is not like Tavares, 7 years ago. This is not like, getting Kawhi for a year, him head faking us at the end of this. Where do you rank this in terms of sports coups? Yeah, because this is a coup, right? If this all plays out like we think it's going to play out and Shohei Ohtani becomes a Toronto Blue Jay, this is one of those things that nobody saw coming, even in the baseball world. But where do you rank this according to what the expectations were in terms of free agent signings in Toronto? Because like after this, it's Rhys Hoskins and a bunch of other dudes. Like, where do you rank this in terms of Toronto getting into the mix, not just getting into the mix, but cutting through the bullshit, if you will, and signing the greatest free agent in baseball history?
Can I swear?
Yeah, 100%. Of course.
It's the greatest fucking free agent signing in the history of sports. It's bigger than Messi to Miami. Like it's not even close. Messi is, while he just did win the World Cup, and he is the greatest footballer of all time, he is not the Messi he was 8 years ago. Like, yes, he's still unbelievable, but he's not that. Ohtani is at the peak of his powers. This would be, everyone loves to dunk on Toronto because they collapsed 4-1 and the baseball team hasn't won since I've been born like 30 years ago. And like everything that Toronto sports fans, like everyone loves to dunk on Toronto. And it would be unbelievable to just like the cockiness. Toronto sports fans would be able to give the finger to everybody because they got Shohei Ohtani. Like, hey, fuck you. Like, we got him. Sucks to suck. Too bad. The Yankees just got Juan Soto, which, I mean, absolutely incredible deal. He's going to be huge in their lineup with Aaron Judge, and they're going to get one-upped by a team in their own division. And then the Red Sox are standing there like, oh, God, like, we're done here. But when you think about it, when you're able to one-up the New York Yankees,
yeah,
come on. Like, that's I have friends, because I used to live there, that are huge Yankees fans. I've been to Yankees games. I get it. Like, I've got a Pinstripes jersey because it was gifted to me by the Yankees. One-upping the Yankees, who just acquired Juan Soto, that's hard to do. Austin Matthews just signed. William Nylander is about to be a UFA. If the Jays get Shohei Ohtani, no one's even going to speak about William Nylander for the next 3 months. Like, it's not
Dude,
even going to matter.
no one's even going to care about the last like 4 or 5 months of the NHL season. It'll just be like, hey, when's the Blue Jays start? Like, when are we starting at Rogers Center? Like, that's how huge.
Let's go.
Yes. Yeah. Season tickets through the roof. Every game will be a sellout. You will never, ever, 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 ever see an empty seat as long as Shohei Ohtani is going to play. And that's the beauty of a two-way player. The only impact two-way player in Major League Baseball is showing up to pitch 150 innings, maybe get you 20 wins, maybe hit 45 to 50 home runs, maybe 60. He was on pace last year for 60 before he got injured and packed it in. I mean, the dude is, and he steals bases. He's sneaky fast. He makes everything look easy. He's got 5 impact pitches. He throws 101 miles an hour. I mean, the dude.
I wish I had 1/100th of the talent of that guy. Like, right? The things that he can do and the impact. And like, I've been seeing people say like, oh, why would you come to Toronto? Like, nobody picks Toronto. Like Eric Macronamella saying that. And it's like, dude, you're talking about the most culturally diverse city in North America. We have a massive Asian population to the point where, like, if he wanted to live in Richmond Hill or Markham or anywhere near that, like, he could have a mansion and it would be like, he would be right at home, because they're like, the Asians per capita in Markham and Richmond Hill are higher than pretty much anywhere else in the world other than actual Asia. And so you look at it, it makes sense, right? If you want to leave LA, which is a massive city, and you're obviously not going to New York, the only other logical place is Toronto.
Yeah.
And if we're calling a spade here, it's a lot safer to live in Toronto than it is to live in the United States of America.
Well, and you bring up another great point, right? My understanding was, which, by the way, you're plugged in to the Toronto Blue Jays. You've been very, very auspiciously absent about certain things that I think you know. I'm plugged into a couple of things as well. I have not. And, you know, when Tavares came here, I was the first person to break it. And people lost their minds that I broke it, specifically at Sportsnet. So we've been very respectful as well, because we're fans, right? Like, we don't want to jinx this. We don't want to screw this whole thing up. But in the big scheme of things, my understanding from people about Ohtani was, hey, listen, I can get the money anywhere. Where do I want to live for 10 years? Where do I want to be? Who's going to give me the best chance to win?
With my bestie?
Yeah, with his best friend Yusei Kikuchi, who he looked up to, who plays here, gets to play with Vlad, Bo, Varsho, who hopefully have a comeback year next year. They've got one of the best pens in baseball, which he appreciates. Their practice facility in Dunedin is world class, which he loved. Apparently,
their medical staff is incredible.
Their medical staff is awesome. Mark and Ross, despite their terrible end of the season, are a very respectful group of guys who do a really good job of advocating for players, maybe the best in the league. So there's that. But one of the real keys to this, as I understand it, was the city of Toronto itself. It was the multicultural vibe. It was how this is a lot like Tokyo in certain capacities. This is a lot. This feels like a place that he can be familiar in, he can hide in, and has a massive community that he can enjoy. Right? That doesn't exist anywhere else.
If he just wants to go for like sushi or dim sum, like, there's so many places that you can do that here pretty anonymously. Like, a ton of Jays, like, nobody ever comes to Toronto. George Springer and Kevin Gausman literally just came here. Like, that's not even relevant. Like, Kawhi Leonard wanted to go back to LA, which is where he was from. Like, nobody can really blame him for that. And he won a championship. So, like, what is there to kind of even do? And yeah, like, I make the traffic joke, but like, if we're being honest, Toronto traffic, while it is horrendous, is still better than LA traffic. Like, I don't know if anyone's sat in LA traffic, but there's a reason that when the two soccer teams play each other, they call it El Trafico. Like, that is their city. So it's like, it's not even a thing. But you brought up Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, and they rightfully took a ton of heat at the end of last year. And yeah, because it was bad. I will never say a bad thing about either one of them ever again if this happens.
Right.
Like, you have bought yourself the longest leash in the history of time. Like,
I know.
you would have to, like, literally, you would have to say, I'm moving the team or something like that for me to say, okay, fuck you. Like, that's the level of leash that they will have bought themselves. What I'm worried about, though, is this. The Jays go out, they sign Ohtani, right? What does this mean? Does this mean that Rodgers is like, okay, well, we committed to Ohtani, which means you can't sign Matt Chapman, Vladdy, Bo? Like, does it mean that they're only willing to spend to a certain extent? Or are the Jays willing to be in the luxury tax and you get to keep guys like Bichette? I think you can afford to sacrifice like at least one of them.
Yeah.
If
you're talking about
Ohtani,
dead money. Yeah. And listen, and that's a great point because Mark and Ross have that reputation of going out and getting a player and then surrounding said player with like Whit Merrifields, right? And like Rugneto Doers, where they're like, okay, we're going to spend here, we're going to save there, and that doesn't work in this league. It just doesn't. Dead money is really important. And when you talk about spending into the tax, I've been waiting for the Toronto Blue Jays to do something like this. I know they're going to go to arbitration with Vlad. I know they can go to arbitration with Bo. I get how the whole thing works. But they've got a window, and they just pushed that window wide open and also gave themselves a path to building this team a little bit differently with a guy like him because he can DH every day. He goes out every 5 days and gives you some solid work. He's terrific on the base pads. I think his OPS last year was like 166, if I'm not mistaken.
Doesn't make boneheaded errors on the base paths.
No, and he's clutch, right? And so you can put him anywhere in the lineup at any point in time. You can also trot him out there to do what he does magically better than almost anybody who pitches in baseball. But the thing about it is, right, so you've changed the entire makeup of the direction of your team with one player who can kind of do a little bit of everything. So you can sacrifice on one part of it. But to your point, the hope is that Mark and Ross don't turn into Mark and Ross again and go, okay, let's go to the bargain bin now and find someone to play second base, or let's figure out someone for. But is he an upgrade over Brandon Belt at the DH position? I'd say so. Yeah, not bad.
He's an upgrade over anyone in the league at the DH position. Like, hey, Vladdy, if you're not playing first base, I hate to tell you, but you ain't DHing either because that position is now taken. Like. Right? You better learn how to play first base every day, my friend. And like, listen,
do you think the big name egos will clash? Like, I don't see, like, I see Vlad's like the happiest guy in the world.
Oh yeah, no, I really don't think so. Honestly, I look at this. First of all, everything I've heard about Shohei Ohtani is like he's the most humble, like chill dude. He's just like he's got a picture with his dog. Like the guy just seems. I don't know if you know a ton about like the Japanese culture or anything like that, but like my sister just spent 6 weeks in Japan and she was really entrenched in the culture there. She worked there for a bit. She was on an internship and she said, she's like, everyone there is just so easygoing and so polite and so respectful. So, I mean, if any egos are going to clash, it's not going to be Shohei's that's the issue. It's going to be the other guys. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's the other guys, they can go. Like, you're done. So you either figure out how to check your ego at the door or you're the one going out the door. That's how... I don't know how you feel about that, Dean, but that's certainly how I feel about
totally.
that.
I mean, I think Vlad's made a different stuff, right? Like, it's like stuff doesn't get to him, and he just wants to win at this point. And I think Bo's the same way. And I think if any player in that lineup is thinking, well, he's going to take my spot, they're unaware of how unbelievably good he is at baseball. Like, they don't want to win as a team. They're too selfish to be here. So, yeah, you get rid of him like immediately. But to your point, I don't see it happening. I think that, Bo is a pro's pro. Vlad is, one of the greatest talents in baseball right now, coming off another down year. That he had off of a down year, and this was more of a down year. So I expect this to light fires under these guys. I expect these guys to be so jacked up, if indeed he signs, that it'll do nothing but make everybody around him better. Having said that, we've watched him toil in Los Angeles with the Anaheim Angels for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for the last 4 or 5 years, and
that should be a prison sentence, by the way. You have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. You don't make the playoffs, like jail.
Mike Trout's got to be next too. Like, Mike Trout's probably looking at that going, I'll come for nothing. just give
$0. I just want to win.
But if you're to believe the rumors, our new Crier Media sports director, Rachel Doerrie, has confirmed, as we have confirmed, there's a very good chance that you're going to spend the weekend with the extreme knowledge that Shohei Ohtani, pardon me, is going to be a Toronto Blue Jay for a very, very, very long time.
And that's, you know what? If he is a Blue Jay until I am nearly 40 years old, that is totally fine with me. Right. I'm more than happy to totally attend all Jays games. We'll have Crier Media outings at Jays games when he plays. Like, the thing is like you look at the impact of a guy like Ohtani and what he can bring, right? So they talked to a bunch of Japanese reporters who their job literally, there's like a Taylor Swift reporter. These guys' jobs is to follow Ohtani. So they're all obviously going to have to move here, which is horribly inconvenient. I don't feel bad. You get to cover Shohei Ohtani for a living. Too bad.
They're probably happy to get out of the States. They're like, hey, let's just get the fuck out of here.
So the thing is like, look, if you think about the impact this would have, though, on the economy and just like in Toronto, how many people are now buying tickets? How many people are going out to dinner downtown? How many events are being run here? How many things, like how many sponsorships does this potentially bring in? How much revenue from Japan, like, does that bring in? Because I mean, if you look at the numbers, a Japanese fan base were flying to LA to watch Ohtani. Are they flying to Toronto now? Like, are you getting that boon? There's a bigger impact here. This is not your regular free agent that's signing. Like, we're talking about a guy who has the potential to have a greater impact on the city he plays for than anything. Like, I better see a billboard with Ohtani sushi.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be everything. The Jays just redid like their. First of all, I have refused to call it the Rogers Center. I've always called it the Sky Dome. If Rogers gets this done, I'm calling it the Rogers Center. I'm actually calling it Shohei Center because that's really all that matters. Ohtani Place.
Yeah, Ohtani Place. That's a great point. I mean, you think about the business aspects of this, and there are lots, right? His likeness, licensing, selling jerseys, selling bobbleheads, all that stuff. That doesn't stop there. Like you'll see advertisements in Japanese all over the Rogers Center because in Japan, he's prime time every time he plays. Doesn't matter when it is or where it is. You'll see brands and food and global flavor from Japan and from Asia of brands that just want to be involved with him. So the influx of ad money, the influx of sponsorship that they would never see. The Toronto Blue Jays would never see any of that. It's remarkable. It's nuts.
They just redid like a bunch of restaurants and like I saw a bunch of them. But if you get Ohtani, like you better be putting a high-end Japanese restaurant type function thing in Rogers Center and make it like call it the Ohtani experience or something like that. And have Japanese flavor there and make it welcoming. Like there's so much. Listen, I'll be the first person to say I already speak a couple languages. I am more than happy to learn how to read Japanese if it means that this guy comes here and like we get to see all kinds of different advertisements and things like that. But the revenue, like you said, you're getting like
off the charts.
The Jays will be in prime time every single game. They're going to be on national TV in the States because of Ohtani, whereas they're oft forgot about because there isn't really a ton kind of going on up here. If they get Ohtani, like get ready to be force-fed the Toronto Blue Jays on ESPN every single night. Like that's just how it's going to work. And that's huge because that is big for attracting other free agents. That's big for attracting other athletes. Like you're talking about hockey players here. And it's like, hey, I might get to appear in a commercial with Shohei Ohtani. Like you might not think that that's a big thing, but when you talk to athletes, like I'm friends with a couple of Toronto Maple Leafs, and like they even said they're like, man, if like that guy's super cool. He's the Tom Brady of baseball. It's like everybody wants a piece, and it's attractive to other baseball players. Maybe you say Kikuchi when he resigns, it's for less money because he just wants to play with his buddy. Like that's
And his
That's a
buddy
thing
shovels
that
him a couple
happens.
million under the table just to make up for it because he's just made it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
exactly,
you
but things like that, like,
yeah.
there's tangible benefits to having a guy like that in your sports scene, and yeah, like, I'm sure Austin Matthews is obviously the guy because he's the best player on the Leafs, but hey, man, if Otani's a Blue Jay, he might have to share that spotlight. Like, that's not only his anymore.
Here's a question. Toronto is a Maple Leaf city.
Yep.
They sign Ohtani. Toronto's Blue Jay city, right?
Yeah, I'd have to think so, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, dude.
I mean, you're always gonna have your like the Leafs are never not gonna sell out. Like let's
I
call it
know.
what it is. But now
Yeah.
you're going from on a Tuesday night at the Sky Dome, you're going from like what 10, 13,000 people, 45,000 people every single
night.
time.
Every night.
And there ain't no Looney Tuesdays anymore. Like you're paying those
Full pop.
500 seats probably $50. Like
yeah, I hope they keep the loony hot dogs though. That was a great deal. I had like 10 of them one night last year. It was awesome. I don't know if they could, but maybe there'll be these really cool new Japanese hot dogs. I don't know.
I'm in.
Oh no,
Can we get Looney sushi? Is that a thing? Probably not,
yeah,
right?
maybe. I don't know. I don't even. Hey, maybe Ohtani doesn't even like sushi. Maybe he's one of those guys that's like, hey, listen, I just call that food. I'm here for the Canadian flavor. Maybe he's a poutine guy. We don't know that. We don't
All
know
I'm
anything about
saying
this guy
is
yet.
whoever is in charge of handling him, do not, under any circumstances, allow him anywhere near the Queen and Spadina and McDonald's. Don't allow it. He is not allowed to be anywhere near that intersection.
Yeah.
It's not allowed. Like,
yeah, it's a little greasy. I know.
I was there at midnight last night, and Dean, I saw some things.
I want to know why you're there at midnight and how you're feeling this morning because you're pretty spry right now. You don't look like you went out for a bunch of drinks.
I didn't have a drop of alcohol last night.
Seriously?
I was just really hungry.
Okay, so you just hit the McDonald's for fun and saw some things.
Me and my boy, he was like, I'm hungry. And I was like, damn, I'm kind of hungry too. Went to the Queen and Spadina McDonald's and I was like, oh, wait, this is such a bad idea. And then he was like, why? And I was like, okay, I just need you. I'm going to take care of the food situation. I need you to just observe. And in the 10 minutes that we were there, we saw a cute dog. Amazing. We saw people basically fornicating on the street.
Hot.
Then we saw a guy almost get mowed down by another guy who was running a red light and in his Toyota Tercel.
Of course. Yeah.
And then we saw a dude who was absolutely not on planet Earth with his brain. He was in another stratosphere. So he was like, wow, that was quite the experience. I was like, this is why we don't go to this McDonald's.
Yeah, you're right. Keep Shohei away from that McDonald's. Just get him to go to the one in the Rogers Center. Just hit the one in the Rogers Center, dude. Don't worry about
anywhere
over
else. There.
Like, Queen and Spadina McDonald's. I've been there too. Or the Harveys at I believe it's at Church and Carlton. Don't go to that one.
No, not that one either. And nowhere near Moss Park and nowhere near the Queen and Spadina McDonald's. Absolutely not allowed.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, we're giving places not to go. But feel free to go to Center Island. That's a lot of fun too in the summer. Shohei. That's a lot
And feel free to go on the mound at the Rogers Center.
Yeah, which you will, apparently, according to every report. Just to kind of let everybody in, Shohei Ohtani apparently has, according to a lot of sources, is going to pick or has picked your Toronto Blue Jays to play for as a free agent in what will be the biggest contract ever doled out in baseball, dwarfing Mike Trout's.
The Ohtani tracker at Crier Media.
Yes. So to that point, Rachel, who is now in charge of sports and sports vertical here at Crier Media, is going to be launching an Ohtani tracker. Keep it right here. Please follow my friend Rachel and give her a congratulations at Rachel Doerrie. You can see her name. Oh, I'm apparently Charles the Truth Teller Adler on this.
Yeah, you are.
Dean Blundell. I don't matter here. Rachel matters. Shohei Ohtani matters. But I couldn't be more proud to have you. Couldn't be more thankful to have you part of the team to take over what is going to be an exciting time in the city, to take over a sports vertical for a group of people who are just as excited as you are, but don't have the chops that you have. And real quick, did you put money on him coming here? Did you put a little futures bet on Ohtani becoming a Blue Jay? Real quick.
I might have gotten him at plus 1,500 before all of this started. I might have.
Oh my God!
Your girly pop might be $1,500 richer by the end of the evening, and I don't care because that's all going towards Blue Jay season tickets.
Atta girl. Me too. Rach, thanks for doing this. Thanks for recounting what could be one of the biggest stories in the history of sports in this city and maybe even in this country with me. Thank you for helping me break it. Thank you for breaking it because it's your information, not mine. Again, Rachel Doerrie, now part of the Crier Media team. She's a partner of Crier Media. We couldn't be happier to have her. Her is it Staff and Graph? Is that the name of your
The Staff
podcast?
and Graph podcast.
Yeah, I knew it. I just had a bit of a brain fart, and I'm like, can you confidently, Dink, say Staff and Graph?
Yeah, you are.
Staff Graph. I question myself. Staff and Graph podcast. One of the best analytic minds in the business. One of the best breakers or downers of information is people like to be able to kind of make an educated bet in sports, gameplay, all the stuff. You're a unicorn yourself in this space, and we couldn't be happier to have you, Rach. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's exciting times for us at Crier Media. Exciting times to be in the city of Toronto, and I can't wait. I really hope that the first post of the Ohtani tracker is Shohei Ohtani signs with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, it will be. I appreciate you. Let's go watch TV and take this in together, Rach. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, Rachel Doerrie, ladies and gentlemen. Rachel Doerrie on Twitter. That is her name. She is incredible. We've got some educated flavor here now, which is nice. Educated sports flavor. Give her a follow. But yeah, that's big news. Shohei Ohtani. If you believe every available source, probably signing with the Toronto Blue Jays today. Jose Barrios, better get ready to pick a new number. It's hard to believe. Legitimately hard to believe because we can't have nice things here. Finally, we might be having a nice thing. And listen, if this falls apart, this whole podcast, you can laugh at me. You can say it's not happening. The Dodgers picked him up, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if it will, but it sure looks good. Anyway, let's watch and see. Thanks for watching and seeing with us. Thanks to our friends at Cantork for making this possible. Makers of the best rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches, Canada's leading industrial tool experts, giving you the very best in sales, service, rentals, calibration, maintenance, and custom fabrication of industrial torque tools. No matter the scale of your bolting project, they have your solution. Go to cantork.com today for more information. Also, we're brought to you by our friends at Gitch, the best luxury underwear on the planet. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. edsfineimports.com sells them. You can buy them. You get a free pair when you use the promo code Gitch and then the number 3, Gitch3. All yours, friends. You can have them. That's right. Buy 3, get 1 for free. The best underwear on the planet, made for Canadians by Canadians. Go to edsfineimports.com today for more details. And always brought to you by our friends at Muse Massage Spa. Download their great podcast, Phenomenal on Men, this last one. They're advocates for men and mental health, which is weird. They run one of the biggest and best and most reputable body rub parlors in the city of Toronto, 1290 Finch Avenue West. They're also advocates for the industry and sex workers. Their podcast, Muse on the Mic, is at Crier Media. You can download it anywhere you can find podcasts. They've also got a Patreon version of it. So if you want all the juice, you can get the Patreon version of their podcast. But very proud to be a home for these lovely young ladies, Emily and Riley. Go to museonthemic.com or musemassagespod.com to download their podcast as well. And check out a list of their services. Can be therapeutic in a big way. musemassagespod.com. Have a great day, everybody. What a day. Shohei. Toronto Blue Jay. Wait, crazy. I don't mind paying for my cell phone bill now. Proud Rogers customer. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye.